And you know, they've sold, I have a friend who's a dealer. I think he said he's like got 4,000 orders for new cars. Out of the 4,000, 100 is for electric. People don't want them. They want them. You should have electric, you should have hybrid, you should have full gasoline, you should have everything. But they're trying to make you buy electric, and it's not going to work. They want also electric trucks. They want electric trucks. I'm dealing with the big trucking industry. Some of them I know. They have hundreds of these trucks, and they're incredible people. They're very powerful people, and they're forced to use an electric truck. I said, so what's wrong with that? He said, number one, the battery is so large, would take up a big portion of the truck. But here's the real problem. You take a look at Peterbilt, you look at some of these companies that build the trucks. So a truck, one diesel, can go up to 2,000 miles. Think of that, 2,000 miles. An electric truck, which has a different kind of power, not the right power, an electric truck will go 300 miles. So that means you have to fill it up with charge 6 or 7 times during a trip instead of having, you want to talk about a supply chain problem. And the battery is so big. I was in South Carolina, a great state, great place, and I visited a very big boat manufacturer. He said, well, we have some problems. They want us to go no faster than 2 miles an hour. He makes speedboats, beautiful boats that go out pretty far. And he said, they want us to go 2 miles an hour so we don't hurt the whale. But there's only been one whale hurt from a boat in the last 50 years. But they're putting windmills all over the place, and now the whales are washing up on shore, so they want to, that's okay. But I said to them, I said, let me ask you a question. How does an electric boat work? He said, well, we don't know, but it's so heavy that we don't know if we can keep it afloat. I said, other than that, do you have any problems? And the battery's very big. You know, it's many times the size of a tank for gas. Many, many times, those big, beautiful Mercury engines, right? Many times the size. So he said, the whole thing becomes almost a battery. I said, if it goes down, and you happen to be the unfortunate person that's sitting on top of that big battery, do you get electrocuted? And he said, you know, nobody ever asked me that question. See, my uncle was a great professor at MIT. So that was a natural question for me. Great professor. I think he was the longest serving, Dr. John Trump. He was the longest serving, but he served almost 40 years at MIT. So, you know, I have a natural, I believe in that stuff, you know, you have certain natural things, right? But I said, so let me ask you, if you have a choice between getting electrocuted from the battery or jumping 10 yards away, there's a shark over there, what do you take? Because I told him what I'd take. I will take the battery electrocution every single time, right? No, but it's crazy. And then the worst of all is they want to make our army tanks. You know, we have these great tanks, Sherman tanks. They want to make the army tanks all electric, so that as we go in to obliterate a country, we do it in a hospitable way. Now think of it, we do it in a way so that we're not hurting their atmosphere. These people are crazy. And the problem is, again, size is a big problem with these batteries. You know, you have to tow a big truck that's bigger than the tank behind it. In other words, to get it, you need another tank, the equivalent, you tow it from behind. But it has a different kind of power than you need, it's not right. And there aren't too many charging stations in areas that you're obliterating, right? So they want it to be environmentally friendly. They want our tanks, so you go in and you knock the hell out of a country or city, but we do it in an environmentally friendly way. These people, there's another thing having to do with planes. They wanted a certain type of fuel because it's more environmentally friendly. I said, what does it do to the plane? Well, sir, it's approximately 15% less efficient, but we can live with that. I said, you can't live with it if you're a pilot and somebody else has another. It's crazy what's going on. Can't allow it to go on, actually. So the whole electric thing, we have to, if you want an electric car, you should buy it, you should buy a hybrid, you should buy all gasoline. We should sell everything like we used to, and it'll be great. The Democrats fought us like crazy over the travel ban, you know that? They fought us like crazy. I had to go through the whole court system, but after 18 months in court, the Supreme Court finally ruled the travel ban was totally constitutional because we want to keep bad people out that want to destroy our country. As president, I also suspended refugee resettlement when we entered office in 2017. Nobody had ever heard of it before. We didn't want that. And we'll do it again. We'll put it right back into place. I banned refugees from Syria. I banned refugees from Somalia. very dangerous places, and from all of the most dangerous places all over the world, abandoned. I said, I'm sorry. And in my second term, we're going to expand each and every one of those bans because we have no choice. Some very rough people, some very rough people come out of those areas. They want to blow up our country. We aren't bringing in anyone from Gaza, Syria, Somalia, Yemen, or Libya, or anywhere else that threatens our security. But I will say this, tremendous numbers of people are pouring into our country right now. We have open borders. It's the stupidest thing anyone's ever seen.
Amen.
Millions of people a month are coming into our country. We have no idea where they're coming from, but a lot of them are the same people that went around doing what they did to Israel 2 weeks ago. A lot of them are the same people. And you have a disproportionate number of young, very strong men. Strong men, sorry women, but I have to say this. You have a very, very powerful contingent of very strong men, and they're pouring into our country. What are they doing? What are they doing? I also issued a historic rule proclaiming that no refugees would be resettled in your communities without your consent, and we will reinstate that rule on day one. You had to consent. Because you have towns and cities, but you have towns. Look at New York, what's happened to New York, where they're laying all over Madison Avenue. You have shop owners that have been there for years. They're closing their stores, they're going out of business. Next, we'll implement strong ideological screening of all immigrants to the United States. No longer will we allow dangerous lunatics, haters, bigots, and maniacs to get residency in our country. We're not going to let them stay here. We're not going to let them. We're going to have the largest deportation operation. And people say, oh, that's so mean, but I think meaner is when you have thousands of people being killed all over. It's one of those things. You know, Dwight Eisenhower, you feel better about this because people didn't consider him a tough a guy, but he was actually a very good president, good general, very good general. But he became president, and he was a very big person on deportation. He deported more than anybody else. He said, "It cannot be here. You have to come into our country legally." That's what I say. You have to come into our country legally, and you have to love our country. You can't hate our country. If you empathize with radical Islamic terrorists and extremists, you're disqualified. You're just disqualified. If you want to abolish the state of Israel, you're disqualified. If you support Hamas or any ideology that's having to do with that, or any of the other really sick thoughts that go through people's minds, very dangerous thoughts, you're disqualified. If you're a communist, a Marxist, or a fascist, other than the people that are already here, of which many are in the Biden administration, you're disqualified. I'd like to get them out too. Maybe we'll work on that now.